Hey, welcome back to a Matt Lee version of Friendly Advice again. So today we have someone on who's not actually going to talk about the online industry. I have quite a few of you who've been following me since the Becoming the Lender days where I just kind of talked about money. And today we have Ashley, who's actually going to talk to you about leveraging your professional experience and knowledge and educational background in order to make more money in your desired industry. So I thought this was really important for people to understand that entrepreneurship isn't the only way to reach your goals. So Ashley is just gonna break down what this looks like and how to actually get what you deserve, girl. All right, let's get it.
Welcome to Friendly Advice, the show where you didn't ask for my opinion, but I'm providing it anyway. I'm your host, Fran. I run a podcasting agency full-time. I love Jesus and trap music. My husband keeps me sane, and I have a true love for reality TV. I left my 9-to-5 in January of 2020 with a ton of nerves and butterflies in my stomach and a solid financial plan to back me. Every week, I want you to take away actionable steps to get you to your next big goal. Get out your notepads and let's get into this week's Friendly Advice.
Hey, Friendly Advice fans. This is Ashley of Mentor Me, a career coach and career strategist for professional women in corporate, nonprofit, and educational leadership. I'm excited to invite you into a conversation on strategies for living a more harmonious life. Too often, professional women and those who are growing and developing in the entrepreneurial space are overwhelmed with the idea of work-life balance. In today's episode, I'm going to talk about why work-life balance is a myth that's designed to hold women back. I'm going to talk to you about what I believe is a value add around work-life harmony. And I'm going to talk to you about some specific strategies to build a more harmonious life. Plus, I'm going to share a little bit of homework that you can use to activate the lessons you'll learn in today's episode. If you want to learn more about me and my work, check out my website at mentor-me.org. That's mentor-me.org. I help professional women make more money and have more impact in their career. With over 10 years of professional experience in corporate, nonprofit, and educational leadership, I use mentoring to serve women and to teach them how to leverage their existing skills to thrive both personally and professionally. I believe that professional women should be investing in themselves, and I love to help them and support them by providing the missing pieces in their personal lives and help them break down and develop a path to career and life success. If that sounds like something that you need, again, visit my website at mentor-me.org and schedule a call with me today. I'm excited to help you. So, I was thrilled when Fran asked me to be a guest on the show and to talk about work-life balance. She shared that a lot of her audience work in the service industry. They're really thinking about building out an agency and thinking about how they can really position themselves as experts in their space. But there's so much stress in doing that work because perhaps some of you are also 9-to-5ers. You work full time, you're a professional woman, and figuring out how to balance your work with your life, whether it's a side hustle or growing your business, is challenging. And the thing that I shared with her is that I actually don't believe in work-life balance. And this comes as a shock to anyone who knows me or who is familiar with my work because I have a very full life. In addition to running my business, Mentor Me full-time, which is a 6-figure career development and professional development company for professional women, I also work full-time in education. I'm a senior director at the largest Research One institution in the nation, and I supervise a staff of professionals who help online learners and online students thrive throughout their education. I'm also a big sister. I'm a friend. I'm a girlfriend. I have a lot of titles and I have a lot of duties. And so it's hard for people to believe, right, that I don't believe in work-life balance, because they're always like, well, Ashley, then how do you do it all? How do you fit it all in? And one of the things that I tell them, and I'm excited to share this concept with you all too, is that I don't believe in work-life balance because I actually think that it's a setup. It's a phrase and a tool that's basically used to demean women. It's used to distract women. It's used to make women feel bad about the fact that they can't do it all, or that they can't have it all, because I don't believe that balance is attainable. And I also don't believe that it's something that we should even be striving for. Your life is not balanced. Balance means that everything's equal, that all things are equal, that everything has the same weight. And we know that that's just not true. Some days you're going to work longer and spend less time with family. Some days, you're going to have to pour everything into your family and you're not going to be able to work that day. Some days you feel lazy or unmotivated or tired. And so you find yourself not being as engaged or creative or connected to your work. And other days you're motivated and driven and you're leveraging discipline to really get things done. So this idea of like balance and that everything should be balanced is just not realistic. Instead, I really invite women to lean into this idea of harmony, lean into the idea of having a harmonious life, lean into the idea that some days you will work harder, do more, have to think more, have to ask for more help. And some days you'll be able to go at it alone. Some days you'll be able to thrive and, just doing what you do and being who you are right now. And I think that I want to encourage women to move away from this idea that they have to have balance in their life and that balance is attainable, achievable, or even desirable. And instead, really consider what it means to focus more on having a harmonious life where the sopranos and the tenors and the altos aren't singing all at the same level and with the same tenor and with the same volume, but they're all coming in at different ways in different times to really develop a beautiful sound. And that's really what I want for people to desire for themselves, for their lives, for their careers. I want you to desire harmony. I want you to desire ease. I want you to desire peace and joy. In fact, one of my favorite affirmations is that I reject overwhelm and instead invite peace, joy, and ease into my life, right? And I love that affirmation because overwhelm is going to come. I can't avoid it. It's a fact of life. But I reject it and instead invite peace, joy, and ease into my life. Once I open up that invitation, then I attract more peace, joy, and ease. I attract more of that. I'm able to lean more into that. I'm able to get more of that. And because I don't believe in a balance and I'm not trying to balance my life, I'm never disappointed when it's not balanced, right? Because it's never really going to be balanced. If we desire something that's unattainable for most people or that's unachievable for us, or something that even if it is achievable, it's so hard for us to get, that if we desire that, then we're constantly disappointed when we don't get it. And so instead of disappointing yourself, I actually want you to desire something and go after something that is actually achievable. I want you to desire something and go after something that's actually attainable. I want you to desire something and go after something that's actually something that's going to add value to your life. And actually having a harmonious life does mean that everyone gets the attention they need. It does mean that everyone is heard, but it doesn't mean that everyone's heard at the same level or that everyone gets the same thing, because that's not harmony. And we're not going after equality or equalness. What we really want to focus on in our life, as it relates to our goals and our career development and our business development, we want to focus on harmony. Right? Some days we're going to have to really have some challenging conversations with our boss. Sometimes we're going to have to really, have some challenging conversations with our colleagues. Sometimes we're going to have to really ask for what we want. And then there's some days that everything's working in your favor, right? And people are coming to you with good news and you don't have to challenge or manage up or lead. But if we always want balance, then we're always going to be incongruent of how life actually works. Life is much more a harmonious thing than it is a balanced thing. And instead of fighting the grain and fighting the system and exhausting yourself, right? In the pursuit of balance, I really want you to consider harmony as a strategy as you advance your life and career and your business. And some specific strategies that I teach my mentees in my mentorship programs around building a harmonious life is connected to your values. And I'm interested to know if, you all in your work and in your businesses think a lot about values. Definitely let me know when you're listening to this episode. Hop in my DMs. You can find me on Instagram at Ashley Ashire. That's at ASHLEYASSHIRE. That's Ashley Ashire. Definitely hop in my DMs when you're listening to this episode. I want to get to know you, and I want to know if you spend a lot of time thinking about your values in your life and in your business. And for me, the definition of values is really easily defined by thinking about them as a personal compass, right? Values give you direction to the choices that you make and the way that you behave. And a good way to figure out what your values are is to think about what makes you tick, right? What drives you? What if this thing is apparent, if this thing is visible in the activity or in the work, you're going to be down for it. You're going to be there for it. You're going to want to do it. If this thing is not present, if it's not visible, then you don't want any parts of it, right? That's a good way to easily identify what values are. And what's true is that when it comes to values, it's so critical that you know what your values are, that you know what they mean, and you know how well aligned your current life and work is with those values. Because the truth is that you can only leverage, position, and strategize once you know what your values are and how to operationalize them. Again, you can only leverage, position, and strategize what your values are and how to operationalize them once you know what they are, what they mean, and how current your life is with those values. I'm going to walk you through, what your values are, some of the things, ways you might define them, and then how your current life is with those values. So the first thing that we really want to focus on here is the fact that values are important, because the truth is there's nothing more powerful than aligning who you are with what you do and how you do it. Again, there is nothing more powerful than aligning who you are with what you do and how you do it. And this is maybe a mindset shift warning for some of you. Maybe you think that it's all about doing the work. It's all about grinding. It's all about putting your head down and getting everything done. But that's just not true. What's more true is that you must be aligned, that your current work must be aligned with who you are and how you do it. Because you can be the hardest working person in the room, but you still won't gain the visibility, the pay, the impact that other people have because they're more in alignment, right? And so it's so critically important that you not only just focus on doing the work, but you also focus on who you are, what drives you, what makes you tick, what are your values, right? And how do you operationalize those values? What do your values look like or in the world, right? You can say all day, oh yeah, I value family. But if you spend no time with your family, if you're annoyed every time they come around, if you're constantly bickering and fighting with them, there's constant infighting, you don't really value them. Maybe it's cute to say you value family, right? But you don't really. Or for example, let's say you say, oh, I value, legacy and building economic freedom and flexibility for myself or whatever, but you're undercharging all of your clients, right? You don't really value wealth or economic freedom or legacy. You can't, because you're not making enough money to build a legacy. You're barely making enough money to sustain yourself, right? And so it's so important that we don't just have these words and things that we say, but that our lived experience is aligned with the values we say that we have. And one of the best ways to identify what you value, if you're like, Ashley, I'm not even sure what I value, or I'm not sure how to identify what I value. One of the best ways to identify what you value is to identify how a value has possibly been violated. So let me share an example. Your boss has asked you to onboard and train a new team member. You're eager to show this new person the ropes, but they seem bored and disinterested in what you're sharing. They've repeatedly stated that they know all this stuff already and ask that you just sign off on the training so that they can get to work. What value was violated? So I'll give you some time to think about that. I find that when I'm teaching values to my mentees, for a lot of them, the value of respect was violated, right? Like this person is not respecting their expertise. This person is not respecting the fact that they're there to teach them something, and that's a value violation for them. Sometimes mentees say that the value that's disrespected is like learning and education. Like this person obviously doesn't value learning. They don't value like training and, learning new things. They don't value teamwork and collaboration because they just want, for everything to get signed off on. And they don't want to like collaborate or learn from others. Some people say that the value being violated here is honesty and integrity, right? Like you want me to just sign off on something, even knowing that I haven't given you the full training, right? Knowing that I haven't really shared with you the details of this. That's a lack of integrity, and that's a value violation. So when next we're going to talk about what values are and how to identify values. And when I'm going through these, I invite you to think about which of these words resonate with you in a way that, like, if this was violated, if this wasn't present, if this didn't show up, that would make you angry or upset or disappointed or disheartened. So lots of words can serve as values. Maybe you value ambition. Maybe you value efficiency. Maybe you value diversity. Maybe you value flexibility. Maybe you value fun. Maybe you value kindness. Maybe you value family. Maybe you value faith. Maybe you value wealth. Maybe you value winning. There are so many words that can describe our values, but I invite you today to identify 5 values. These should be one word phrase or one words, right? Like don't have like, oh, I value the da 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 and blah, 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 blah. No, like just choose a word. For me, I would say some of my top values are autonomy, support, wealth, leadership, and knowledge, right? Those are some of my top values. So do some work now to identify what your top values are. Again, one word, you don't want to turn this into a phrase or a sentence, just identify one word that resonates with you related to your values. From there, then I want you to define these values. So for example, a lot of times when people when I'm talking to about values with people, they will say, oh, I value, for example, flexibility, right? Like that's a common value. I value flexibility. And that's fine. That's a fine value. And you should know that just in general, there's no judgment on values. We don't judge values. We don't say this value is more important than this value. If you value faith and you value wealth, I'm not going to be like, well, you shouldn't value both of them, or wealth is a much better value than faith or whatever. We don't make judgment calls on values. But flexibility is a value, but flexibility can mean different things for different people, and flexibility can show up differently in the definition. So for example, flexibility for one person might mean their ability to be agile in their work schedule from day to day. They need a flexible work schedule. Some days they need to come in early, some days they need to come in late. That's what flexibility means to them, right? While for someone else, flexibility can mean working on a variety of work projects. So it's not about their work schedule. For some people, flexibility means, I just don't want to be bored. I don't want my work to be monotonous. I don't want to be doing the same thing. I need flexibility in the work assignments and the type of work that I do. So it's not only important to identify your values, right, and choose those 5 words, but you also have to define them, because people have different meanings of the same words. And it's really important to be clear about what this means to you. Take, for example, the idea of family. Some people, when they say family, they mean their siblings, their parents. When other people say family, they mean their community, identities that align with theirs, right? They mean their spouse or their partner or their children. And so it's really important to define what family or any other value means, because values don't exist in the bubble, right? They don't exist in the bubble, they exist in the world. And so you have to make sure that you're defining those values so that when you're talking about them with other people, you can know what you mean by them and they can understand what you mean by them too. So we've identified our values, we've defined our values. We're going to measure the alignment of our values. So the first question you want to ask yourself is, are you building a life around what's important to you? And through doing this quick assessment, we'll be able to see if your life and your lived experience, your work and your career are aligned with the values that you say you have for yourself. So for example, let's say, again, my top values are autonomy and support and wealth and leadership and knowledge, right? And I would say right now in my life, one of my top values is autonomy. So I want you to score each of your values. So those 5 words, I want you to write those 5 words down on a piece of paper, and I want you to score each of those 5 words, and you get a score of 1 through 4. One is I'm not really living out this value in my life right now, right? Like, so this is something that you value, something that's really important to you, but it's something you're not living out right now. Maybe you have had life happen to you and you haven't been able to live it out. Or maybe, things are just not going well and you just haven't been able to pursue or like really lean into this value in a while, right? If it's a 1, I want you to put a 1. If this is a value, but you're not really living it out. And then there's 2 and 3 in there. You can kind of measure those. And then 4 would be, I'm the literal poster child for this value. No one knows it better than me. So numbers 1, 2, 3, or 4, no 0.2s, no 0.5s, no halvesies. We just want to label or each word 1, 2, 3, or 4. For me in my life right now, I would say autonomy is a 4, living out this value very well. Support is probably a 3 right now. Wealth is a 3 right now. Knowledge is a 3 right now, and leadership, let's just say it's a 2 right now. So, you want to align each of them. Every word has a 4, a 3, a 2, or a 1. And then anything that is a 3 or below, right? We want to recognize that there's a lack of alignment, right? It may be a 3 and not a 1, but we want to recognize where there's a lack of alignment. And so, for example, if you value wealth and you value making money and you value like leveraging money to grow your life, that's a value of yours. But right now you don't have any money. You're collecting unemployment. You don't have any flexibility in your budget. You're living paycheck to paycheck, client to client, whatever that is, then that means that you're out of alignment. Your current life, your current experience is out of alignment with the way that you actually desire to live your life. So you need to do the work to get in alignment. You need to do the work to get into alignment. So sit with that, measure those. And then anything that's a 3 or less, you want to do an activity where you're able to activate your values, where you're able to identify the value that needs alignment, develop an action plan, identify an accountability partner, and then follow up in 30 days. And again, 30 days isn't always enough time to completely transform your life and a value and move it from out of alignment to in alignment, but you want to do at least a 30-day check-in. And if you want me to serve as your accountability partner, I'm happy to do that. Again, make sure you follow me on Instagram. It's at Ashley Ashire. That's ASHLEY. ASSHIRE. It's Ashley Ashire, Instagram.com/Ashley Ashire. Hop in my DMs. I want to know if you listen to this episode. I want to know what your values are. I want to know how you define them. And I want to know where your alignment is. If you have alignment numbers that are 3, 2, or 1, I want you to do that activate your values activity. I want you to identify the value that needs alignment, develop an action plan and a timeline for getting it together, identify an accountability partner. And again, I'm happy to serve as that accountability partner. And then I want you to just check in with your accountability partner. Once you've identified them and you've shared with them what your plan is, then you want to check in with them again in 30 days to measure where you're currently at. What I've just walked you through is a part of session 2 in my programs, both the Mentor Me Accelerator and the Mentor Me Mastermind. This is like one small part of session 2 in both of those programs. So if you like this teaching style, if you learned a lot here, if you're thinking a lot more about your values and how to activate them in your life and career, then you should be a part of Mentor Me programs. Again, my Mentor Me Accelerator is a 6-week career advancement program for new and mid-level professional women. It's specifically designed to help you find and secure a new role within 6 weeks and make it minimum $10,000 more than your current annual salary. It's great for new professionals, for mid-level professionals, and for those who are looking to transition between and among careers. Then there's my Mentor Me Mastermind. The Mastermind is executive coaching, 6 months of executive coaching for mid-level and senior level professional women. It is teaching you leadership strategies to advance to the highest levels of leadership in your industry. So whether you're looking for those director level roles, those AVP roles, those vice president roles, those managing director roles, the Mastermind is uniquely designed to teach you the success strategies to advance to the highest levels of leadership and what it means to be there, stay there, and transform your industry from the inside out. If that sounds like what you're looking for in your career development, make sure you go to mentor-me.org and schedule your mentor moment. The mentor moment is a 20-minute call for us to talk about where you are in your career development right now and help me understand how I can best serve you and show up for you as a mentor. I'm so excited, again, to serve as a guest on Friendly Advice, and I'm excited to connect with this group of amazing listeners to help them make more money and have more impact in their careers. Thanks so much for listening. Bye-bye.
Thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of Friendly Advice. If you enjoyed it, leave a review below. Tell a friend, tell a neighbor, tell everyone you like this show. Also, feel free to DM me on Instagram or PM me on Facebook and let me know what topics you want to hear. If there's any guests that you're just dying to hear from. Thanks so much again for listening. See you next week. Bye.